For your first climbing rope, you'll want something that's between 9.8 and 10.2 millimeters, 60 meters in length, and is UIAA tested. Buying a climbing rope for the first time can seem a bit confusing, but once you know the basics, it's really quite easy. For detail on rope construction and theory, see my video titled Climbing Ropes in Detail. First and foremost, you must buy a rope that was manufactured and designed for climbing from a certified and trusted climbing gear manufacturer. There are basically two types of ropes in climbing. We classify these two general groups as static and dynamic ropes. A static rope is a rope that stretches little to none when loaded. A dynamic rope has stretch much like a stiff bungee. When a climber takes a fall, you can think of a static rope like a steel cable. If there is any slack in the system, the climber will come to a very abrupt stop, which is painful and can be even deadly. Now picture your climber falling on a bungee cord. The stretch in the cord absorbs much of the force created in the fall, and our climber comes to a smooth stop. An important note that I want to stress is that when lead climbing, you must use a dynamic rope. So we know now that we want a dynamic rope when we go to purchase our first climbing rope. Now, the first thing you want to look at when you go to purchase a rope is the rope diameter. The rope diameter's main factor will be the weight you save by having a thinner rope. This is normally a trade-off with the cost and durability. Thinner ropes often cost a little more and are less durable. For your first rope, I would recommend something between 9.8 and 10.2 millimeters, as the size range is a good balance between weight and longevity. Rope length is another choice you will have to make. The current standard in length in the United States is a 60-meter rope. The diameter and length are the two main choices you have when buying a new rope, but there are a few other options to know about. First, there is dry and non-dry ropes. A dry rope is treated with a coating to help keep water from being absorbed by the rope fibers. When a rope absorbs water, it becomes much weaker because it can lose much of its dynamic properties. Dry ropes prevent this but do not completely eliminate the problem. Getting a dry treated rope is not a bad idea, but will cost you $30 to $50 more. Another choice you're going to have to consider is the number of UIAA falls a rope is rated to take. The UIAA falls number can be used as a loose guide as to how durable the rope might be. A rope with a high number of UIAA falls in the test will tend to be a more durable rope than one with a lower number of falls. It is important to realize that this is not the total number of large falls your rope can take. Other small options include single, twin, and half ropes, but the rope you'll want to start with is going to be a single rope. This is the normal rope that most people use when going out climbing. Single and half ropes can often be used for specialized applications and should not be considered for a beginner. To quickly review, you'll want a dynamic rope that is somewhere between 9.8 millimeters to 10.2 millimeters thick, 60 meters in length, and it's up to you whether or not you want a dry coating or not.